Hi, everyone. Welcome to Dean's Chat, where we discuss all things podiatric medicine. Today's episode is going to be a little bit different. We're going to discuss the mindset of a champion. This is pertinent to all of us, of course, whether it's at work or whether we're enjoying our hobbies. And my guest today is Brad Kidd Jr. Brad is one of the top shotgun shooters in the world. He's a 20-time Team USA member, a 30-time All-American. He's helped lead Team USA to multiple gold medals around the world. As a junior competitor, he won multiple US Opens, a Nationals, and World Champion titles. Equally important, Brad has become one of the most sought-after coaches in the country, helping many attain national and world titles. Welcome to Dean's Chat, Brad.
Dr. J, what's happening? Thanks for having me. I'm so honored to be with you, my friend. It's great to see you.
It's great to see you, and it's great to have you on. You know, Brad, I'm always looking for different ways that I can help my students and the residents. I want them to shine, and mindset's a lot of it, right? It doesn't really matter what you're doing. You got to have a winner's mindset and a champion's mindset, and I couldn't think of anybody better to exhibit that or illustrate that than you, because we've worked together a lot over the years.
Well, yeah, and this is so cool for me because I do a lot of podcasts, shooting-related podcasts that follow our sporting clays, and from my own channel, my own brand. But to be invited on to speak at a college university on the Dean's Chat to my good friend who has been a longtime student and fellow pretty dang good sporting clay shooter himself. It's awesome, man. It's awesome to be here. So I love that we're talking to kind of a new audience for me. Maybe the sport's new to a lot of your audience, a lot of our audience tonight. So I look forward to getting into some stuff and seeing how we can bridge a gap to some valuable knowledge towards what, you guys are trying to achieve in your own field.
Thank you so much. Brad, in order to get started, I thought maybe we could define what sporting clays is. That might not be a bad place to start because there's a lot of my listeners that aren't familiar with shotgun sports.
The easiest thing when I tell people, that orange thing that flies through the sky that you shoot with a gun, looks like a little frisbee, a little disc. That's what it is. It's sporting clays. And most people imagine it out at the farm with their, grandpa throwing the skeet and shooting it. There is a full-on sport. You could almost imagine it on a golf course where you go from hole to hole, or what we call station to station. And they give you a presentation, typically of two targets. And we got a screaming baby in the background. My apologies. 3 boys are at the house too. So, but we have a design course where we go and attempt to shoot these targets. It could be at various distances and speeds. We even have different sizes, different colors. They roll along the ground. And basically, you go out there and over a number of days, you maybe shoot 200 or 300 targets to decide the champion. And we have major championships, just like golf. There's world championships, national championships, US Open, many other big titles with big sponsors and whatnot. So some of us make a living in this little niche sport, both as competitors, professional athletes, but also as coaches. And that's what's kind of interesting about our sport. It's a pro-am. Every major tournament's a pro-am. So amateurs and pros get to go play the same course. It's almost like going to Augusta and getting to play with Tiger Woods. I mean, you and I can go squad together in the World Championships. It's amazing.
It truly is amazing. So Brad, I wanted to start with your history in the sport. You grew up shooting, right? You were a national champion as a youth shooter, and that evolved over time. Now you're obviously one of the best shooters in the world. Let's talk about the mindset for that, right? I mean, I think it's very important, the attributes that go into becoming a world champion. And let's just talk about your history and then kind of things how you evolved over time.
Golly. Long story short, I would say life. Okay. When I came to the sport, or the sport was brand new in the United States. So my generation, even though I was 9 years old when I first started competing, you're not going to find anybody that's been competing in the United States longer than I have, or not many, So the sport was brand new, late 80s, early 90s. So as a brand new sport, when I started out, it was just another sport that we enjoyed and participated in. It wasn't something you really thought you would make a career out of. The sport has grown exponentially. So I actually went through a path of life where I went to school, and I actually got in the mortgage business. And that life path led me back to shooting 16, 17, 18 years ago. And I've been doing it ever since. But long story short there, to kind of skip right to where we are right now, I've really found a life of passion and meaning. And that's so important if you're trying to tie your effort and your goals and your drive to something that matters. It's got to mean something to you. And that's, to me, what it's all really comes down to. It all comes back to meaning and purpose. And that's what it's about finding. When you do find that, you'll find a way through to attach your skill set to your passions. And, at the end of the day, we try to figure out how to monetize that, the society we live in. And that's all well and good. But it all comes down to meaning and purpose. And that's where you find that drive and that passion. If you don't have it, I had a good friend that their quote was, everybody's a world champion. You just got to find what it is you're a world champion at. And there's a lot of truth in that statement.
Well, there is a lot. That's great. When I think about attributes of a world champion, passion is number one at the top of the list. So Brad, let's kind of take a look at our situation here at the college. I've got a class of just phenomenally smart people. They're very similar in desire. They're all passionate about becoming the best doctors they can be. What are other traits that can separate them from the crowd?
In their field?
No, in just general human traits that lead to people being a champion.
That question, I kind of have a problem with the way it's posed, honestly, because I'm going to go right back to, all right, so that's something I find very interesting is a personality test, really, really good personality test. And there's a few of them out there that can kind of gauge where your comfort zones are, what you would be good at, where you excel, where maybe it doesn't come as easy for you. So you need to maybe pay a lot of attention in this category, where you're kind of flying high in this other category. Don't worry about that. That'll take care of themselves. So I think in a lot of ways, it's not so much a trait to be successful as much as it is finding, what it is, what you could be or should be successful at. I mean, something as simple as men and women. Yeah, there's a saying you often hear: men are interested in things, women are interested more in people. Different things like that. And I'm not trying to say there's any difference in the sexes in any route, other than what are your interests, what are your skills, what are your passions. Finding that is a deep and sometimes difficult question to ask, especially as a young person when you're trying to sort of figure it out. So I'm 41 years old, and I'm really just starting to feel comfortable enough where I'm tying, I'm comfortable enough to relax and not jump at anything. And I'm making good life decisions, let's say, whether it be investments or different businesses, where to allocate my time, understanding what's important, understanding how to deal with whatever you call it, what life throws at you, and it can throw a lot at any time. So there's high times and there's low times. Anybody can feel good and be rolling in the high times. Can you kind of stay that same positive person in the low times? So with that comes this work ethic and this deep desire and this hunger to, get the deal done or really learn the material or really get good at the action or the skill or the act. Put the pieces of the puzzle together, whatever it is that you're good at. And I'm sure inside you guys feel there's different parts. There's different guys that diagnose things. There's different guys that are more surgical. Is there some truth to that? There's different. Yeah. So you can, inside your college, you can probably kind of gauge what it is you like, what you're interested in, what you're good at, and sort of figure out what's your right fit in the podiatry world. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. Well, a lot of that, Brad, is
it's a lot of it. It doesn't matter exactly that it's podiatry now. Your passion doesn't have to be feet. Your passion can be helping people. And then you figure out what you're good at and you tie that to something you can monetize. So you've got to figure out how to tie that meaning and that purpose and that passion together. That's where you're going to find your drive, your energy to give it the effort. And it doesn't matter what it is, you'll get it done. That's kind of how I feel about it. I love what I do. It doesn't feel like work. Whether it's trying to get better at shooting or I'm very passionate about my coaching, my students, as you well know, Jeff. For you guys that don't know, let's talk about your dean a little bit. This guy is a beast. He won the 55 and up division at the U.S. Open in a discipline we call FITASC one year, which is basically, if you look at our sport, you can almost look at it like tennis, how they play on clay and then they play on grass. There's a French version where the French rules, you have to start with the gun kind of off your shoulder and down low, and you can't mount the gun until the target comes. And in the English version, you've got the gun up. So there's some small differentials between, certain disciplines of sporting clays. But I've worked a lot with your dean, and I always said you had some of the most amazing hands and eyes and just natural athletic talent. And your field was, obviously different. How you put food on the table was something different. But I'm curious about you. Did you grow up playing a lot of sports when you were a kid?
Oh yeah, we played baseball, basketball, football, you name it, we did it.
And what level did you play at? Did you go through high school? Did you play collegiately anything? Or
No, I ended up running in college. I ran cross country, which is a completely different animal, Brad, because it's just how hard can you work? It's not that mind game.
Back up a little bit. Did you start in basketball? Did you start in football? Did you start in baseball?
When I was younger, oh yeah.
Yeah, you were an asset to your team. You're one of the
my size caught up with me a little bit, Brad.
Yeah, you're a little smaller guy, but in all truth, you are gifted with great hands and eyes. I mean, am I wrong?
Well, if I'm trained appropriately, I can do things. Spring the basketball on my finger and things.
I think just kind of getting at that a little bit, I think your talent is in terms of just good hands and eyes. And we've talked about this before. I kind of jokingly said to you on a lesson, I bet you're good at everything, with ping pong, bowling, no matter what it is. You probably got a knack for it. And it's because I could see this kind of high level of hand-eye coordination. But at the same time, let's say that I don't test as wildly good hands-eyes like you do. But my knowledge in my sport is so much greater than you. I can mop the floor with you any day of the week, at ease, at will, half effort. And which comes right down back to your field and your study. I might be, and I'm not, but let's say I'm wildly smarter than you. Wouldn't matter. I hadn't studied your field. I don't know it better than you do unless I've lived it, and studied it, and understand it. So, talent is awesome, and it gets you a little bit. And whether you're the smartest person at the school or the most talented player on the sports team, it's all going to come down to deep understanding. For you to understand yourself, how to sort of not operate through emotions, but through logical thought and control. How do you, to think ahead, those kind of skill sets of solving problems and things like that. So, if you can learn how to manage your time and manage your skills and whatnot, there's a lot of things. Another quote, same friend, be the best at everything that doesn't take any skill, through your study and through discipline, be the best at all the easy things that anybody can do. And then if you're disciplined in that area where you're kind of maybe your IQ is not as high, you make up for it in discipline and detail and effort categories. So, the opportunity's there. We live in the greatest country in the world. You can excel wildly here in whatever you want to do. So yeah, find meaning, find purpose, find some passion, work your butt off, want to be the best. And there's a million other little things you could talk about, tiny little acts of what doing that actually looks like. So you got to do something. It's got to start.
Let me ask you this question, Brad. You've competed all over the world. You do all the regionals, the nationals, the U.S. Open. At the top level, you're all extremely talented. What's the difference at the end of the day, performing under pressure when the chips are down? It's day 4 of a tournament. How do you become a champion? How do you deliver under pressure?
Well, I guess for me at this point in my career, it's so practiced. All right. What is so interesting about my sport is the longevity. So there have been major championship winners, world championship, for instance, at 18 years old and as late as 58 years old. So that's 40 years. It's 4 decades. You can be at the absolute pinnacle of the sport in the entirety of the world. There's not many sports where that's the case. And we believe that longevity can even go beyond that and to back up. I mean, we've had U.S. Open champions at 16. We've had a lot of teenage people on the podium at major shoots. So you get to spend, let's say half a century working on this art of executing a game to where it's only live or die. It's only hit or miss every shot. So there is no fixing it. There's no making up for it. You've got to face the possibility that you might miss. You might get a 0 every time you call for the target. And that's essentially what it is. They're going to toss 100 targets in the air, and how many you hit, that's how many points you get. So it's almost like making the free throw or sinking the 10-foot putt, where you got to hit it, you got to make it. It just comes down to that. This is hit or miss every time. And it's the game is deeply psychological about understanding emotion and fear and being honest and being aware and understanding how it affects you and how to deal with it and how to get to your high level ideas and your execution of them. And it comes with deep understanding of yourself and a lot of practice in the act. Where what you're trying to do through daily life is actually a little bit easier. It's a smaller version that's not, you can lose your mind in sporting plays in a microsecond. In 1/1000th of a second, you can wreck the whole thing. If you're just sitting there studying, you can recover from a little bit of a lapse in focus or whatnot. So, but then there's critical moments in life, whether it's a negotiation or an interview or maybe a client, a patient that needs help, where you've got to stay focused under pressure. So participating in sport, especially a sport like mine, where it really is about mastering one's mind, and attaching it to one's knowledge and skill set, it's a great practice, and it's one at the very least should be read about. But to really be understood, it has to be practiced and attempted and learned. And you can find that through many different sports.
Sure, that makes sense. Let's talk about your coaching career, because you've coached a lot of professionals, and you've coached them up to national championships and some world championships too. What are some traits you see in the people you're training, and what are you looking for in a student to help them maximize their potential?
I'm not really the kind of coach that's like setting out to find the next world champion and coach him. Really, just anybody that wants to come to me that I enjoy working with is really where I'm at in my career. I've gone into venturing into different businesses, different things. A lot of it mostly attached to sporting plays, whether it's building ranges. A lot of real estate comes along with that. Different products and different partnerships with companies. So there's a lot that I'm kind of venturing into lately. But on the coaching side, I love it, and I'll never quit doing it. But really passion and enjoyment of working with somebody. And it's not that I don't love doing a lesson where I might see somebody and not see them for a year, but somebody that's working with you regularly, that you're working towards a goal, that you get to kind of advance and see them advance and work a long-term goal of becoming the best at this that you can be, discovering the best shot you can become. One of the coolest things about it, I might get a student 72 years old, and his best shooting ability is ahead of him. Once I can kind of give him a little bit of knowledge, even though he might not have the best reflexes anymore, the best eyesight anymore, his best shooting is ahead of him. Because once I kind of give him the secret, which is kind of cool, because the sport is still so new that the highest level of information is still being kind of pioneered and understood by, sorry, my cat Leroy just jumped up here, by the very few this is Leroy, at the top of the sport. So, not that there's no knowledge, that's been learned over the last 50 years or whatever, but we keep advancing it. We keep advancing what is thought that you could do with a shotgun. The targets keep getting more interesting and harder and farther and faster, and the shooters keep getting better. So it's a really cool thing to see kind of the evolution of the sport from the beginning and a fast track of people really mastering the skill.
I know it's changed a lot since I started 15 years ago. The difficulty of targets and the quality of lessons that you give, for example. I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, how progress you can make in a short period of time in profession.
It's like anything else. If I wanted to go figure out how to fix feet, and I just was going out into the world and like touching people's feet and looking at them and trying to figure it out. When you get a high level coach in anything, whether it's learning to be a doctor or learning how to play a sport or, learning anything, any kind of physical activity or any kind of mental understanding, gaining knowledge, gaining skill is what it all comes down to. And there's so many beautiful, ancient arts that you can learn to understand meditation, different religions and philosophies, all that kind of stuff. It comes down to it. Every act you put in the world matters, putting kindness and good and energy and effort. And it really comes down to me, like make the world a better place. And you could do that through, being a social media influencer, through being a professional athlete, or being a foot doctor.
Absolutely. Yeah, well said.
The dean foot doctor. This is so cool. And all the futures. How many students? Tell me, how many students at your school?
Our school, we've got osteopathic medical school, dental school, vet school, podiatry school, PA program. It's all health professions. So everybody's got that common theme of wanting to help others, right?
Yeah, you guys are churning out doctors that are a lot staying in the United States, mostly.
Yeah. Well, when they graduate from my school, they have to do a 3-year residency program and then potentially fellowship after that to hone their skills, of course. I mean, everything takes time, right?
It's a heck of a field. I've benefited from it greatly. I'm on my feet all day, whether it be coaching or shooting, just standing all day. So I pay so much attention to my footwear and my, arch supports, and I wear the highest technology shoes. I've got the New Balance Fresh Foam. I don't run around in those, but I stand in those, and I use Hokas and inserts, and I've benefited from, both information from you, and I end up coaching and meeting a lot of doctors. So you're not my first. You're not my first.
That's great. So, Brad, I wanted to just shift gears a little bit. There's a lot of people that are interested in hobbies, right? With golf, people enjoy a multitude of sports, and shooting is one of the sports they can enjoy. I was wondering if maybe I could do a series of questions and then you just give me the 30 to 60 second answer to those questions.
For each one, 30 to 60 seconds.
Yeah, and if it's more, that's fine too. Right. So the first thing when we're dealing with shotgun sports, let's talk about safety.
Mm-hmm. Safety.
What's your thoughts?
Well, it's paramount. In shotgun sports, it's everything. So it has to be there. You have to understand the etiquette, the protocols, the rules. It's got to be the same in your field. It's got to be the same in anything. If there's any dangerous activity that you could be, involving yourself in. So safety has to be understood. What's really cool about sporting clays, statistically, Minnesota is one of the states you can letter in target shooting. And they did a study. I participated in it. It was from 2005 to 2013, and they showed football injuries, 3 million, girls soccer, 1 million, blah, 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 and on and on and on, and all the way down to sporting clays, which is the highest participated sport in youth in the entire state. There's tens of thousands of kids that participate in it, 0 injuries over the course of 8 years. So that's because we take safety very seriously. It is statistically one of the safest sports on the planet, because of how disciplined we are. It really is a sport. I involve my family, myself, and my kids in it because it's really taught me how to be a responsible person. It's taught me how to exist with high level people and feel confident and look them in the eyes and introduce myself and shake their hands. And, my kids are kind of learning that same thing. So a lot of discipline, a lot of detail, taking it being a serious person and taking it very, very seriously. Safety.
Absolutely. How about the gun?
That was good.
That's about right.
The
next topic, the gun, the shotgun.
Yep. What about it?
12 gauge shotgun, over-unders, semi-automatics. If you were new to shooting, what would you recommend?
Zoli for life. All right. It's all you need to know. Zoli, Italian shotgun, the best thing on the planet. It's unbelievable. I've been with them for decades. We're building the Brad kit gun, which is going to be insane. I'm going to have this gun it's almost like writing a novel. Like somebody might find that thing 2,000 years from now and be like, what the heck is this? Who's this Brad kit guy? So it's almost like Jordan, a pair of Jordans from Nike. I mean, I'm not trying to say I'm Jordan, but I'm going to be designing the Brad kit gun, where our goal is to launch it at the World Championships, which are in the United States 2024. But I'm still in the works on some of the art and everything, but that's the plan. So yeah, that's Zoli. Zoli's shotgun. They come in every gauge. 12 gauge is what we use in competition. But Zoli's are amazing shotguns.
Very good. How about shotgun shells?
Bernaghi Gold from Able Ammo.
Very good. Very good.
Another Italian company, Bernaghi Gold, another Italian company. Powered by Able Ammo. So all the Bernaghi shells come into a single distributor in Texas called Able Ammo, and you can get yours at ableammo.com.
Very good. Now we're starting to get into the nitty gritty, the importance of your eyes in shooting.
Huge. Same as catching a ball or a lot of activities. It's why predators' eyes are on the front of their face. It's to be able to lock in on your prey and, hand-eye coordination and kind of actually be able to have some depth perception and to have some kind of ability to focus and capture and contain an object for a lot of things we do. So that's why predators' eyes are on the front of their face. Hands and eyes, whether you're a baseball player, a football player, shotgun shooter, golfer. That's really your connection to what you're doing is your hands and eyes.
Very good. And then glasses. Glasses are important for two reasons: safety and to see the birds. Comments on glasses?
I use the best glasses in the world. Pila. The only place to get them, Clay Target Vision. ClayTargetVision.com. The guy's name is Dennis Springler. You can call him and talk to him personally. He's got the best knowledge. Whether you need prescription glasses or just regular glasses, lifestyle or shooting glasses, they're amazing. Lenses built by Zeiss. There's nothing clear. There's nothing better. For every activity I do, I wear nothing else. They're just simply the best in the world. And I would know because our sport really comes down to that visual connection. We're trying to see things flying through the sky at 50 miles an hour, 75 yards away, sometimes more. So everything we do in terms of our glasses and our ability to visually connect with that object, we're trying to shoot out, out of the sky. It's huge. So we spend a lot of money and a lot of effort on being able to cover every lighting situation, whether it's cloudy or sunny outside, or you're in the trees or out in the open or in the desert or in the, wherever you may be. So yeah, Pila shooting glasses, ClayTargetVision.com.
I remember 6-7 years ago, you and I were out shooting and you were giving me a lesson and you said, stop. And I stopped and I turned around and you said, Jeff, are you or are you not going to look at the blankety blank target? And because that is the difference between hitting them and not hitting them sometimes.
Yeah, and really you got to understand what that means too. It's not simply look at the target. That's kind of easy to do. It's eyes and trust. All right. So you got to understand, okay, I'm really trying to see this thing when it comes out and keep my eyes with it. That's when you're teaching a kid how to hit a ball, keep your eye on the ball. It's a little higher level than that. It's really, really keeping your eye on the target. It's staying connected from the time you capture it all the way through the finish of the shot. And there takes some effort and some practice in understanding what that really means. But what happens at the other side of the coin is really, are you going to make the decision to trust yourself enough to just keep your eye on the target and trust the shot? So when we lose our trust, we sort of miss our moment, second guess. And what happens with that, the mind's running crazy. We visually disconnect with the target, kind of in that moment of firing the gun. So as much as it is about the conscious effort to see the bird, it's really the courage just to kind of trust your idea, trust your move, stay calm and let it loose, let it rip kind of thing. If you guys understand that terminology. That's a lot of what it's about. So it comes down to eyes, understanding eyes. It's trust. I like to call it the Holy Trinity. It's the hand, the eye, the mind. So the hand is what kind of controls the gun. And there's a lot that goes on with the stance, the form, the body movement that comes down to what I try to simplify to somebody I've taught how to shoot as what the hand is. So the ability to point the gun wherever the heck you want to and be great at it. So we're trying to have the highest level hand. We're trying to have high level eyes, seeing the bird, which is a couple things: the conscious effort to see the bird and the courage to allow yourself to see the bird. That really blends into the mind. All right. So the hand, the eye, the mind. The mind is you got to have a high level idea. You got to understand what it is you're supposed to do. These targets fly through the sky fast. You got to kind of judge how fast they are and get the gun out ahead of the bird. In order to try to hit it, depending on how fast it's flying, you might have to shoot 10, 15 feet out ahead of it along the path it's flying to be able to hit the target, at distance flying through the sky very quickly. So you've got to have a good idea, a good plan. You've got to find the courage. That's what the mind is. It's a good idea and the courage to trust your good idea. The great hand is the physical side. The great eye is the visual side. There's your Holy Trinity, the hands of George, the hands of King George, the eyes of an eagle, and the trust of, Buddha. Something.
Many times over the years, you've told me to be fearless.
It's faith. It's blind faith. You might miss. You got to deal with that and you got to decide to trust yourself either way. It's kind of like faith in God, you could say. So there's the hand, the eyes, the mind, the physical, the mental, and the visual.
Very good. I love that. All right. I got a whole bunch of individual target presentations, incomers.
I'm going to run kind of a collapsing play, which means I just let the bird come to me and shoot it. Kind of just comes to the gun. Not much to it. A little bit of control if I've got a window of consistency, but let it come on in and bang it. It's kind of standing still, not a hard shot.
Outgoing targets.
Outgoing targets, likely chasing them, likely swinging through. Shoot the move. See it, go get it.
Okay. A quartering target differentiated from a deep quartering target.
Deeper quartering has more angle. It's lingering towards the crossing angle. It depends on speed. The more speed I've got, the more I'm going to start the gun on or ahead of the target. The slower speed, the slower lead shot, I may opt to swing through that a little bit. So yeah, as you increase angle and speed, you start playing more pull away, which means we go to the target and pull away from it. Swing through means you let the target pass you and you swing from behind it and you try to make a move like that to get the forward allowance to hit the target. Maintain lead is where you try to start the gun at the space ahead of the target. So as overall lead increases and window of opportunity decreases, meaning maybe you don't have a lot of time, maybe it's a short window shot, the bird takes a lot of lead and it goes flying through there, and there's a little window through the trees, you got to see it, you got to poke the gun out in front and shoot. You may be going more towards go to the whole lead or a maintain lead strategy. If I've got time to make a move, I run a pull away, smaller lead, quartering out type shots and run and swing through. But it's all about being able to stay visually connected. Whatever move I'm running with precision and control. I'm cutting right through the back edge of that target through to the nose, or I'm pulling away on that exact line or going to an exact lead. I'm understanding how to do that at a high level, both physically, visually, timing-wise, calm-wise, focus-wise, over and over to because at the end of the day, the best guys, we can hit the clays. Who's going to go hit the most out of that 200 is what it comes down to.
Crossing targets. Playbook.
Kind of already spoiled that. I mean, I run a lot of pull away. I'm good at maintaining lead as well, but yeah, understand lead. Lead is the most important part of the shot to me. As long as the gun's in the right place, target's going to break. How do I get the gun in the right place? It comes down to feel and visual connection and precision and control and technique and a lot of different things, set up, hold points. But I want to understand what that crosser needs. Is it far and fast? Is it close and slow? What's the line? What's the lead? What technique am I going to run? Am I going to do maintain or pull away or swing through? There's a lot of climbing shots I'll run swing through. So some might be crossing the climbing. And if I do maintain, I have to get the gun up above the bird. What happens visually, because I'm in the gun like this, I can't see the bird, especially if it's coming from right to left climbing. So I'm running, if that's 15 feet of forward allowance, meaning a really fast, far climbing crosser, I'll swing through kind of right up the tracks of the bottom edge of that is the technique I run, because as soon as I get past it towards my lead, I'm going to lose sight of the bird. So I've got to be sort of swinging through that in time, knowing where I'm going. I'm going to lose. The bird's going to go invisible. I just got to keep swinging to where I think I need to go and pull the trigger. And if I don't commit to the timing of that and just pull the trigger on that blind faith when I lose sight of it, that's a miss every time. And when I pull the trigger, I don't even know if the bird broke or not. I don't even get to see it. I kind of got to wait till the gun's out of the way. And I miss the actual bird exploding. I always see the bird exploding. I see the bird clearly, poof, I see that happen. When you run that play, boom, the bird explodes. And it's almost it's only a thousandth of a second, but it's a frame of time for me to sort of get the gun out of my way and be able to clearly, see some target in the air. And there might be times where that's another company with another bird in the pair. And I don't even have time to look back to see if I broke it. So I've got to, shift over there and not let the wonder of whether I was successful on that first shot get in the way of this next point that's, up for grabs. It's in the air that I need to execute. So there's a lot of, mental focus and control and focus on the action and the process and the act, trying to disconnect from the worry of the result, and focus on getting the job done,
something that we didn't talk about, different presentations. So in sporting clays, when we're shooting together, we're usually shooting two targets. And then sometimes we shoot the first one Well, if you don't mind explaining it, that'd be great.
No, there's typically targets and pairs. We're going to go with, report pairs and true pairs. There's different versions of pairs that they set. But a lot of times we say pull one time and two targets are coming in a sequence or immediately at the same time. There's a lot of strategy that goes into kind of making a plan to execute those two targets in the air. So you have to understand kind of everything to understand anything. You got to know how to shoot good. You got to know how to plan good. Then you got to know how to make a good plan for these complex pairs to find the high level, the highest percentage shots. So it's quite an art. It takes quite a base of knowledge. It takes a lot of experience, a lot of skill to excel at the highest level, just as anything else in life does.
Yeah. So our listeners probably think it's an odd concept, but there's actually targets that roll around on the ground. They're called rabbits.
We call them rabbits.
Your thoughts on shooting rabbits?
Yeah, just like any other target. They kind of run along they run. They're made to be thrown along the ground, and it's almost like if you think about a baseball player, a middle infielder. I used to play middle infield, and when they hit you a ground ball, you kind of know after a hop or two what the next one's going to look like, and you don't even really think about it. You just react to it, and you get a feel for it. And every now and again, you get some bad hops. That's the hard thing. You might get a bad hop. You cannot let that get in your way because, you're probably not going to. And I actually kind of learned the safe way to play them. You sort of let them hop along. And I know when it catches a little bit of air or when I've got good control and kind of a good safe time to take it. Some of them give you short windows of opportunity where you got to kind of commit to this zone. You got to shoot this small zone to shoot the rabbit. If it takes a funny hop, it can really get you. So they can be frustrating because they can feel a bit unfair at times. But it's a cool shot. It's here to stay in our sport, and there's some randomness to it. And a lot of people, it gets a lot of people, it scares a lot of people. But you just got to look at it like any other shot and execute, the best shot you're capable of.
I remember the first time I shot sporting clays. I'd shot trap and skeet as a kid, and then I went on a sporting clays course and I shot a rabbit rolling on the ground. I thought, oh yeah, I love this sport. It's great.
It's cool. For like a novelty target, it's so cool. Every beginner loves it. Everybody recognizes it and remembers it. They're fun to shoot at these things, skipping across the ground. They're awesome.
Absolutely. So, Brad, next topic, towers. Why are shooters so intimidated by big towers, big lifts where the target is launched from high above?
I think a lot of that comes down to, it's easier to put a machine on the ground and throw a target. So everybody's not seeing the bird on the tower as steadily as they're seeing the one on the ground. So only if you are at a club that has a tower or have a lot of experience shooting towers, when you put the bird up in the air, you can throw it level or throw it kind of down at you. So in some cases, you want to throw it fast and then not have to fight gravity. You can maintain a lot of speed. It's meant to get up in the air at big distances. So a lot of times it ends up being a really big lead shot. It's very killable and breakable and not that hard if you understand the concept of lead at those big distances and speeds. So yeah, I think a lot of it is just, it's hard for people to gain experience on that target as a novice shooter. So that's intimidating for them. But man, it's cool to launch these clays off the big 100-foot towers or even higher. We shoot them off cliffs sometimes. I shot them off a 200-meter cliff at the World Championship in Budapest this year. It's 600 feet off the ground. They're throwing these clays. It was unbelievable. So they can be intimidating to anybody depending on the size of the tower and the target they're throwing off there. But they're really cool shots.
Maybe this is a mental game question, but why is it, Brad, when you're shooting well, it seems so easy, and when you're not shooting well, everything seems so hard? You theoretically, you should have the same skill set, right? I
think yes, and wait, look, I see what you're saying. It's just like a guy getting hot in a basketball game. They kind of, they get some confidence, and it feels easier. It seems easier. I think that probably even transpires more so at the mid-level because you already struggle to feel confident. All right. So when you do, and you finally get that monkey off your back for a little bit, you really find your best, which you lack confidence. So you don't even know. Most of my students, if I can just instill confidence, they find their best is wildly better than they dreamed without me giving them any knowledge or any kind of new anything. Once you give them that with some confidence, the sky's the limit. So when it when it comes down to that, I mean, the belief in oneself is a very, very powerful part of it.
No doubt about it. So, Brad, what's the future of sporting clays? I mean, it's evolved over the last 15 years. I can only imagine what you've seen. What are we seeing in the next 10 years, you think?
The sport is exploding. It simply is exploding. It's exploded really organically, just through word of mouth and through the enjoyment of people, more so in this country than anywhere else in the world. But you had 50 million Americans shoot a shotgun last year. And participating in sporting clays is at an all-time high. The sport's grown through leaps and bounds. We keep getting more media coverage, more podcasts, more sponsorships, more attention. It's really something else. It's one of the most affluent communities in all the world. It's some of the most amazing people in all the world. And everybody in the game says that. The quality of people, the moral character, the way we treat each other, the way we look out for each other and help each other and become a family. There really aren't many things or many associations or sort of communities you could connect to and involve yourself in that I think are anywhere near what this is. And it's catapulted my life to unimaginable highs. I didn't come from money or maybe even opportunity. It's amazing what opportunities this sport has provided me. I'm beyond blessed and live a magical life. And it's unbelievable. It's pinch me kind of thing. I can't believe it, but what a game, what a community, what a world we live in, what a country, what a life,
Absolutely. It brought me great joy to see you at the tournaments this year with your son, Miles. He's turned into quite a little shooter.
That was very cool. So all summer, he traveled me and shot many major tournaments. It was really towards the end of his school year last year. So Miles has shot his first clay out of the sky when he was 3 years old. He never shot more than a little bit every year until now. And he's participated in tournaments as early as age 6. But like I said, not more than once here, once there throughout the years. And somewhere this spring, he really started kind of, hey, Dad, can I go practice? Dad, can I go to the tournament? He got the bug and he traveled with me all summer. It was amazing. It was so much fun because that's the one hard thing for me. I'm on the road a lot. I've got 3 boys. I'm away from my family, my wife and kids. So that's tough to be on the road that much. But, you're doing what you have to do to make their lives better and to chase your dreams and whatnot. But to be able to take him, it made, what I'm already love doing just a million times better. So it was what a magical summer. And here he is. Come on, Miles. Come here. Let me introduce you. He heard us talking about him. This is my oldest. I didn't even know you were here. I thought you were wrestling or something.
Hey, Miles. How are you doing, buddy?
So this is Miles. I just actually find that magazine. I don't know what I'm doing. I just wrote an article of the results of Miles at the regional championship in Denver. And he won 5 of his 7 events and was second place in the other 2. It was amazing. But it was funny. The magazine, I wrote the results article for it. And the magazine just came out. Clay Target Nation, Western Regional Results Coverage. I wrote that and got the magazine this morning in the mail. And it was cool. I got to write about Miles' good shooting,
Great work, Miles.
Camera's right there.
Great work, Miles.
Thank you.
We're on a podcast right now, actually. This is not just a phone call. Yeah, millions of people are going to see this.
Absolutely.
You want to tell them your Instagram? Tell them to follow you?
Miles Kid or Miles K18. And
are you sure it's not 16? Miles Kid 16?
Yes, that's it.
He doesn't even know his Instagram.
Yeah, I love it. All right. Well, keep up the good work there, Miles. Well
Kid
done,
Jr.
man.
Yeah, at Brad Kid Jr. is my BRAD, double D's and Kid, KIDDJR. Miles doesn't know his, so sorry. You missed your opportunity to plug. All right, Miles, good shooting. Did you have fun shooting with your dad all summer?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I loved it. Love tournaments.
Yeah, we're going to do some more of it. We're going to the national championship in 2 weeks. Miles will be competing. I shoot on the professional rotation, so he can't be in my squad, but Miles will be shooting with Grandpa, who owns a range you're very familiar with in Tucson, Arizona, the biggest sporting clays range in all the U.S., and his mother will be on his squad as well. So 10 Miles, his mother, Michelle, and then Mr. Miles here will be Miles Kid. We named him after his mother's family's last name. So they'll be on a squad together at the national championships in San Antonio in a couple weeks.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I will definitely see you down there. I'm going to be spending a week down there too, so shooting a lot. And
Dr. J's going to be down there shooting, trying to capture the. Are we in the 655 and up still? Where are we?
Yep. I just turned 62, so I got a couple years before the next.
Years in the 55 and up, and then he's in the older guys category, the 65 and up.
There you go.
Are we going to? No, I don't want to. No spoilers. Are we maybe retiring from deaning and potentially chasing some 65 and up world championships in the near future?
I might have to realign some priorities.
You got to move back to Florida so you can work with your coach. I'm shooting 10 miles.
So Brad, what is on your plate for the next few years? What are your goals and aspirations?
Well, obviously trying to raise him and his knucklehead brothers. They're way, way worse than he is. So they're not here to defend themselves. But, Miles, we got a 5-year-old, 20-month-old. God willing, more to come probably. So obviously raising these kids. I want you to get on out of here and go do your homework or something.
I don't got homework.
Nah, we just pretend like you were going to do something besides watch TV for the people here. All right, in all seriousness, so tell me the question again. Repeat the question.
What's on your agenda for the next few years? What are your goals and aspirations shooting wise?
My agenda for the next few years, shooting wise, I'm chasing world titles. So world championship, that's what I want. That's the top of the list. That's the top of the radar for me. There is, the FITASC is the French organization. And then what we call the World English Championship is the US organization and the British organization's World Championship. So those are two crown jewels for me. I've been silver medal at each of those. I've captured a national championship. I'd like to capture more. The U.S. Open, I've been silver medal at the U.S. Open, so it's also evaded me. I've been in the top 5, I don't even know, like 10 times probably. So I want that title as well. Those are my major career goals. At the World Championship, I've been successful on the team. So I participated on the team and won gold many times, led the team to gold many times in the World Championship. But individual World Championship gold, I do not have one, and I want one. That's really all I really aspire for. You want to do well in every shoot. I shoot tons of tournaments all week. You always want to win. You always want to do well. But when it comes down to it, that's the one I want. That's the one that I'll lose sleep at night over.
Oh, there you go. Well, Brad, we're running short on time. I just wanted to also tell you I'm sending you one of these cool Dean's Chat cups.
Oh, that is amazing. I love it. I love it.
Absolutely. Couple side stories just for the audience. I remember in 2013, we were all shooting in Spain and I was warming up next to you in they had the 5-stand kind of warm-ups. And you were hot as can be back then. Do you see that coming from a distance? I mean, you got second, right? You got the silver medal that year in Spain.
Yeah, Spain. I was silver at the World FITASC. So I see that coming for myself.
Yeah. Did you see it coming? I mean, is it like a...
Oh, did I see it coming then?
Yeah.
I had a lot of confidence then. So that wasn't a coming out party for me. I was in the, super final of the World Championship in 2009. In 2011, I was runner up. In Chicago in 2012, I finished 4th, maybe it was 5th. I can't remember. And honestly, I had a protest that went south that maybe, affected my positioning or it didn't go my way. I'm not claiming that I would have won, but I, maybe would have done better. So I was having really good results. I was arguably those years, say from 2008, 2015, one of the top 5 shooters in the world based on results of the World Championships and major championships in the U.S. So that was a big, big deal. That was one of my proudest results ever. Even though it's silver, not gold, it was at the World Championship at the World Championship, which is, the World FITASC, kind of the pinnacle of shooting a shotgun on planet Earth. There's other, you can go to the Olympics for shotgun shooting, but the baddest cat on the planet with a shotgun is the World FITASC dude. It ain't the Olympic guys. It's just that simple. That's a different discipline. Purely being great with a shotgun is what we do. And nobody does it like sporting clays, shooters do. So it's something that I aspire to, to hopefully be able to claim one day that I'm the world champion.
Right on. Well, I'll be following your career, as will many people. I'm sure everybody's going to enjoy this episode of Dean's Chat. Brad, thank you so much for carving out time to jump on here with me.
I hope it does. I hope it, let me add one more thing. Like, a lot of doing well in competition is doing well in life, and it's how you feel. It's where you are. And there's always things thrown at you. There's always things in the way. There can always be woe is me. There can always be, but I had this going on or that going on. There's never not things going on. Rise above, execute. Don't let the obstacles get in the way. Don't empower the excuse. Get the job done, man. You only live once. Put your best effort forward. Touch the world. Make it better. This was awesome. My friend Jeff, it's great to be with you, and I look forward to seeing you in San Antonio competing for a national championship alongside you.
Absolutely. I look forward to it. And also, I'll put all your information in the show notes, Brad, so people know where to get a hold of you. They can go to Florida and get some lessons, but you travel too, right?
Yeah, I travel to mostly in Florida. I do lessons. I'm all over town. I'm in Houston a lot, Louisiana a lot. But I mean, I'm all over doing lessons worldwide on, business and competing as well. So yeah, you can find me Brad Kidd Jr. on my Instagram. Is easy. BradKiddJr.com is the website. BradKiddCoaching@gmail.com. I'm easy to find. Google me. I pop right up.
Sounds great. And to all of our listeners out there, if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, please give us a 5-star rating. And of course, if you're watching on YouTube, please become a subscriber. And until next episode, cheers, everyone.
Cheers. Subscribe to my YouTube channel.
Absolutely.